Hey everybody, it's Mr. Ridley here. Hope you guys are all staying safe. So, last couple of weeks we've been talking about instrumentation. And remember, instrumentation are the four different groups of instruments that are put either into a band or into an orchestra. Remember, those four different groups are the strings, the percussion, the woodwind, and the brass. Remember, we already talked a little bit about woodwind instruments. And remember, a woodwind instrument is an instrument that used to be made out of wood or is still made out of wood. And we use our wind, our air, to make the sound come out. That's why we call it a woodwind instrument. All right. Now, we also started to talk about a percussion instrument. Remember, percussion instruments were instruments that we would either hit or strike to get the sound to come out of it. Now, percussion instruments that I showed you last week were called non-tonal percussion instruments, meaning that the sound would come out of it, but they wouldn't really play any different notes. The instruments that I'm going to show you this week are tonal percussion instruments. You're still going to hit them and strike them, but they're going to all play different notes, okay? But before I play any of those, there's something I want to show you. This is what we call a mallet, and I did show you guys this last time. It's not the same thing as a drumstick. You're still going to use it like a drumstick, but it's not the same thing. It has this little ball on the end that changes the way the sound comes out of the percussion instrument, okay? So the instruments that I'm going to show you today, or two of the instruments that I'm going to show you today, I'm going to be using the mallet on it, all right? Now, the first instrument I want to show you, is something called a marimba. Now, a marimba does come from the same country that the djembe came from. Do you remember what country that was? That was Africa. Now, this marimba doesn't necessarily come from Africa. I got this one in North Carolina, but the country that it originally came from was Africa. Now, the marimbas are all made out of wood. And if you look at them, I can take the different notes off. You can see that this one is longer than this one. Well, a general rule with any instrument is the bigger the instrument, the lower the sound. The smaller the instrument, the higher the sound. So which note do you think sounds lower? It's going to be this one because it's bigger. Which one do you think sounds higher? It's going to be this one because it's smaller, okay? So let me go ahead and put the pieces back on. Now, just like last time, guys, Mr. Ridley is not really a great percussionist. So I'm going to play some of these instruments for you, but I'm also going to show you guys some other musicians who are really good at these instruments. Okay, so I have it on just like that. And when I play it, I'm not going to play it with my hands like I did with some of the other instruments. I'm going to play it with this mallet, okay? Now I want you to hear how it sounds. That's exactly how a marimba sounds. It sounds very light, right? It sounds like you're hitting a piece of wood, because guess what? You are hitting a piece of wood, just like that, all right? Now, another instrument I want to show you that oftentimes gets confused with the marimba is this instrument. This is what we call a xylophone. Now, a xylophone is actually spelled with an X at the beginning, not a Z. And this instrument actually comes from Asia. So if you look at this one, it's a lot smaller than the marimba, has a lot more different notes. I can't really take these off. These are kind of screwed on, so I can't really take all these off. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and play a couple of these for you. If you hear it, it kind of sounds like little wind chimes, right? Very, very light, okay? Now, there's one more instrument that I really want to show you guys, okay? But this instrument, I'm actually not going to be using the mallet. I'm going to be using my fingers. This is probably one of the most famous percussion instruments. Do you know what that instrument is? It is the the keyboard. So the keyboard looks just like this. And it has all the different notes that you can play on it that you're going to be using your hands. So you're technically striking. So that's why a piano or a keyboard is called a percussion instrument. And it sounds just like this. just like that. All right? All right, guys. Have a good rest of your day.